Alright, so next up will be the seats. I've got to restore these. I've got the dress covers as I've shown you before. Someone was desperate to make a white trim for their GT. Replace the foams on these. I don't know what the condition of the seats really are. So we've got new rubber diaphragms, which is good. And we got some old Cooper seats, but with foams that are pretty much had it. The back what do you call it? Scrim, or the horse hair that goes on the back, that might be okay on both of them, but we'll see. So we'll put this onto the side for now. We'll focus in on this one. We're just going to take the space cover off. So yeah, these are going to get completely restored, but the first part is to get some new foams made up. And they got a pretty basic shape, the foams, so I'm just going to go to a seat cushion foam supplier and see if they can make up some replacement ones and pick a density and a ILD or a hardness factor that's comfortable. There we go. Take the back cushion off there. We'll focus now in on the bottom leather cover, or vinyl cover, wouldn't be leather. So yeah, these are not the proper seats for the GT. They're missing the safety fitting that goes on here that locks the seat from so it doesn't pivot forward in an accident. If I can ever get my hands on a set, I'll absolutely put them in. I think in 71 there was a transition to put them in, and this is a 71 car, so we'll try and get away with just fitting Morris K or Cooper seats into the GT for now. And of course, the 71 model didn't have the headrest. There we go. Should be all the clips. Oh, there's more here, I think. So this is for... No, I think that's for the back cover, but they've got to come out anyway. Look, they've all rusted. Might just get some gloves. What's dropping out of this? Some coins. Nice. Yeah, look, that's I think we're going to go straight back to the frame then. And it's off. Well, that's interesting. It's got these ribs put on there. Oh, if something's been eating that. Ugh. If there's been a rat in here or a mouse. Okay, there we have it. So, a bit of foam there too with a bit of back reinforcement. It's pretty interesting. It's just flaking apart. Alright. Not much is going to get salvaged except for the frame, really. So, that'll do for now. But we're going to get some foams and we'll replace these. Here we have the proper GT seat trims. Black with the proper pattern. What do they call this pattern? Basket weave. They were black, but they were painted white with vinyl paint. So here we have a process on getting this white paint out. Just a plastic bristle brush. The only chemical I could find that can get this out is solvent, and I'll just show you. Bit on, let that soak in, and brush away. It takes a little bit of time for that solvent to eat into this. You've got to spray it a bit, rough it up, spray a bit more. And then eventually, let's get a shirt. Won't bother getting this dirty. Here we go. There we go. And just pretty much repeat that process all the way through. That's after about 5 minutes. You've got to keep on brushing into it to get right into the grain. You can eventually get all of it back out. Still a little bit, but look, once you get majority of it out, then you can fine tune the remainder. I've worked on pretty much all of this. There's little white specks in there. This part may be covered, I'm not too sure when we put it back on the seat. It's a bit damaged there. There's not a lot I can do about that though. I'll just try to get this bit out. So to clean the frame up, we're going to use one of these abrasive pads just on an angle grinder. These were the straps that went on the backrest. These are the original ones, but they've all perished completely. They weren't in good condition at all, and I used all the clips off these to build a new set. So here's all the new set here. all measured out. Got a pair for each side. So there's two of each, 370, 380. That's 380. 370. 395s. There's another 380. And 385. So 4 of them. So the 385s go vertically, I think. And the 395 is along the bottom. Oh, sorry, horizontal. But I've just got this webbing, it's 50 millimeters. And you can put the hooks through and just punch a hole in it. Put the clips back on. So we got them. We got foams. So we're going to have to use these foams. I got these pre-cut by a company called Cut Foams in Sydney. So we got base. These are reinforcement. I'll show you these a bit later how they went. These were not going to be used, and this is the backrest foam. And we put this wadding on there as well to give a bit more fluff. So, yep, we'll go ahead and put the straps on. And then we'll try and do the foams. Okay, so there's a finished product. We've done about 3 coats of primer. Did the etch primer and then did about 2 or 3 coats of the matte black. So that's good enough. So now we're going to work on the, put the diaphragm in, we'll put the back straps on, and then we'll install the side skirt, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. I played around with the side skirt on the first seat and had a little bit of difficulty, so I'll show you what I do with this one. Anyway, we'll get to work, we'll put the straps on and we'll see how it looks. This one is supposed to actually wrap around the front of this, but I'm going to actually leave it like that. So I get a little bit more profile with my backrest down the bottom here. And they strap on the front side of these straps. So they're all on. This one may be a little bit loose, but so be it. We'll put the foam on anyway. And again, like I said, I'm going to keep this one at the front. Actually, I've just noticed there's a bit of primer here, so I'm going to give that a bit more paint. Now what I did do before, I put the curved edge at the bottom, like this. And I had this straight edge going all the way around. I had it actually about like there, and the straight edge at the top. And I went around the sides, and I had it higher up, so it was up here before. And my expectation was that with that glued there, this foam cushion goes on top. And then you glue this to the side of the foam like that. But that extra thickness on either side made this cushion way too wide for the GT covers. Like, this foam is already wider than the seat. It doesn't really crush. So I kept the foam here. I took a lot off here, like I took a corner out there and a corner out there, and then I just trimmed about 1/2 inch off the back here, because I want the front edge of this foam to be more or less flush with the front of the seat as such. So about flush like that, or maybe just a little bit more. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bond this on first, and then I'll put this skirt on afterwards. But I don't put the skirt there, I just put it down here. And I'll get that pretty much flush. Or actually, I'll put this on first, and then I can determine where this foam goes. But yeah, you'll see a lot of videos where this skirt glues on the edge of the foam. But like I said, the GT cover, it's really tight. And I couldn't get the seam perfectly on the corner of this foam. So I've had to just make a bit of an amendment to it. I'm not entirely sure what the original design looked like. But yeah, put this skirt on first. We'll put it down low. and then that'll set the position of the foam on the front edge of the here. Alright, but first we'll give this a bit more paint and then we'll get to work on that. Alright, so we've done the rest of the painting. We've just touched up the front end of the seat. We'll just put this grommet back on. That looks much better. So now we're going to work on the base cushion. And we've got to set this in the right position. So it's going to be best to install it front first, and it's more or less going to be just right on the edge there. Now if I put some pressure down on the front and then show you the length of this foam, you can see it's much longer than it needs to be. It has to actually go tuck into here, but you got to take off a fair amount really. If I push this down like this, you see it's buckling. Now you can move it forward just a little bit, just to give it a bit of lip, but it's still too much. And then wait a few minutes, then we can just apply them. Okay, so now we'll fit this, get this centered, and I'm going to go low. As I said before, we want this at the same height as the foam base. So that's the difference for this GT. I'm just putting this along the same height as the top rail, and we'll trim the bottom off. I'd recommend cutting like 1/2 inch off. Sorry, 1 inch from the corners. So these edges can tuck in now, but I'd say just another 1/2 inch off the edge there. So I'll mark that up. Try and do this in 2 passes just with a knife. Right, so that's pretty much it. It's going to push out a little bit, but we'll get gluing around here now. Okay, that's enough time for the glue for the base, so we'll start at the front now. So that's flush with the skirt. So for the back, I took the felt off the top of this, and I'll use that for an application shortly. I'll just show you about that a bit later. This is going to go that way, so we'll apply glue around this perimeter as well. Is I ripped this off the front, but I'll just cut strips and I'll just run the strips around the side here to soften the edge for the back cover. So I'll just go around the seat. So I've put that softer foam just on the edge here, just to hide the frame, and then this wraps around underneath the top of the frame, top of the cushion, and then again on this side here we've got the softer foam there on the edge of the frame. So it's a complete foam job now. That's all on there. It's got a good profile. Try and get a bit of a tight shape to that. Okay, so here's the back cover. So we'll slide that on. So the shape up here is a little bit crooked, so I'm just going to glue another strip of foam just around the top there to give it a flush look. It's looking much more square. I'll show you now. Alright, so we fitted the cover, the base cover, and now we're just putting the clips on the underside here. One to go up the front here. It's a little bit tight to wrap this around. You can see where the original marking was. That would have been further around than clipped in. So I'm thinking this vinyl does shrink over time. I'll put another one just here actually, so I can get rid of that kink. And we've put some around here already. We need to just put another one around here. There's a little bit of a cutout here. There's one on this side, and also on the same side for that seat there. They're both on the same side. Interestingly, nothing on this side. Not too sure what it's for. I guess it's for this lever, and you can see which notch you're in when you lift the lever up. Or yep, up. Yeah, cut out there. You just wrap that vinyl around. And with the GT seats, I think this is how it's supposed to go. It's a bit different from the other mini seats. But there's some straps. There's 3 straps. So I tie them around that rear bar. And then there's a little strap on either side of the base cover. So I loop it around here, and then I just use one of those hook type clips on that side and on our side. So yeah, that gets a nice profile on the base cover. We'll just keep going and work on the back cover. So I believe that those vinyl straps, there's one here, one here. They're going to go and loop around the base frame here and clip on, and then this piece will clip all the way around. So I nearly forgot to install the foam that goes in the lower part of the backrest. I had a bit of foam left over from the mini spares kit that I bought for the base cushions, and I just cut this out so it could fit within the frame of the backrest, and I could just tuck it between the webbing and the foam. I was pretty pleased with the overall result after putting the backrest covers back on and tying it all up. The webbing I used was just an ordinary webbing that you could buy anywhere. I didn't bother using the Pirelli webbing, which I believe you can still buy for minis anyway. So after all that, hopefully that will be the final time that we play around with the dress covers. And after this, I was pretty pleased with the result. So finally we have a completed set of GT seats. We've put the foams in there, which I got from Mini Spares. There was a nose piece of foam that we didn't install in here, but I've instead installed it in the backrest as a lower lumbar support now, so it's provided a better profile overall to the backrest. We've done this seat as well. Now this seat had a little bit of damage just at the front here. Now if I just zoom in, there was a piece that was severely cracked open and all perished over on this side. And it's actually happening a little bit over on this side. I've put a little bit of vinyl repair compound into that. I'll put a little bit more in later. But for here, I actually had to do a cutout of that. And I had a donor piece. This is the door card insert. There's one on either side. I got this when I bought the car, but I only had one piece. I didn't have the other. That's what it looks like on the other side. So this basket weave is unique to the GTs. I think it was only in 1971 and 72 that they had it. And the 71 model GTs didn't have a headrest support. So they had the old Morris style backrest. But this basket weave is unique only to the GTs, and it's hard to source. So I didn't have much option other than to cut out a little donor piece out of here, which is that piece there. It was trimmed down a little bit more. And then with the vinyl paint that we've reapplied over the both seats to harmonize the black color, which actually matches pretty well with my rear seat, which has been restored. It provides a nice color and it helps mask this up a lot better. So overall, pretty pleased with the results. We'll put these in the car a little bit later on. We've just got to do a few more pieces to the interiors. So we've got to finish off the carpet. We've got to put the pads on that go directly underneath the rear frame here in the carpet in the back area of the cabin. We've got to reinstall the pedals and connect them to the master cylinders for the brake and clutch and put the steering column in. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with the results of these seats. They've come a long way since the Morris K or Cooper seats that I just picked up from someone, all weathered and torn and perished. We went and sought foams. I was trying to use a local supplier for the foams. The company I went to was called cutfoams.com.au. They're in western suburbs of Sydney. They provided a pretty good piece, but I just picked the wrong density or the hardness of the foam in the end, and so I elected to then go and buy the proper shape foams from Mini Spares. You can also get them at Mini Sport Oz in Adelaide as well. They're not cheap, but it's probably the best option. If you're going to restore seats, I'll just not waste any time. I'll just pick up the foams. I think they come from a company called Newton Commercial in the UK anyway. Of course, I had to trim them at the back here, as you saw in the video. And the only dramas I really have now is just with this seat, where the seam is a good 1.5 away from the edge of the foam, and it's wanting to pull apart up here. So hopefully in time that'll relax out, hopefully not tear, and yeah, I'm hoping that the vinyl paint will hold up. It's really got a nice feel to it. It doesn't feel like, I don't know, hard paint. You can see the grain still in there. I did very, very light coats. Try to keep the grain happening. I noticed with the white paint that was on the seats to begin with, they must have layered up the paint really hard because there was no flexibility in the vinyl whatsoever. When I was taking all the paint off with the solvent chemical, progressively as the white paint was coming off, the vinyl became more and more flexible yet again, and yeah, restored a lot of its flexibility. So I had that in mind when I reapplied the vinyl paint on this. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. That wraps up the seats, and we'll progress on with the Mini Clubman GT very shortly. Thanks for watching.